So a lot of these green strategies, whether they're certifications or not, have a pretty high cost to them initially. It's not actual money, it's time and energy. But the return in the long run does show up. But when we have small businesses that come in, they're always skeptical about doing green because it costs too much money and it'll be too long before I get that money back. Or even if it's not time and energy. What do you think about that sort of philosophy? Are there any holes you might be able to poke in that sort of logic, or is it true that it is just this large undertaking you have to be and just hope that it'll pay off? Or
I mean, we do our homework. When we choose to do something, we look at our return on investment. Really, we really do. We have to. But with a small company, we have 45 employees in 2 locations for a chemical plant that's pretty small. As most of you, if you work at small companies, or if you will work at small companies, everybody has 7 to 8 jobs to do. That's just what you do. I mean, one day I could be unloading the dishwasher. I don't know, that's what you do, You're doing a ton of jobs, so you do have that tendency where a lot of folks want to put that on the back burner because production wants to come first. That's how you're getting your money home. You really have to keep the morale focused on sustainability and focused on the morale of sustainability, because if I have a union, I have 22 guys in a union, that if I said they didn't have to think about it, they would still think about it at home and maybe a little bit of work, but if I wasn't auditing them constantly and asking them what they're seeing on their unit, we would have a difficult time. It's the involvement of our employees that I'm most proud of, is that they're coming up with ideas. I just had one employee come up to me, write a suggestion box saying, I can't believe how much city water we're wasting. Can't we reuse that by the cooling tower, or put a chiller in and reuse that? Because all we're doing is putting non-contact cooling water into the system to cool the jackets of the reactors. And then we're releasing it out, which falls under my MPDS permit. So we're getting hit on a couple different avenues of that, but we were wasting money. Ideas like that is what we need, and management has to listen, and usually they're pretty good at listening. My owner, my CEO, is very green. I always joke with him and say it's because he's from Denmark and they've been green a lot longer than we have. And then I also thank him because he drives a Mercedes and he bought our product.
I was just thinking about how inexpensive those flow valve regulators are for a faucet. They're like $7, and I know that came back on each faucet in 30 days.
Right.
So our initial $3,000 or $4,000 investment, which probably pales in some instances, but for us, we got that back in the first year, and the ongoing process is not cumbersome in the least. It took us a minute to catch our stride. A lot of rethinking, redoing behaviors, changing behaviors, but if you take a look at it, for our barbecue division, we've always used a high quality china plate. We never thought to think of using styrofoam because it breaks. It was less even environmental at the time than it was, we're going to spend better money to have a better plate anyway, which by happenstance is compostable. It's paper. So that was the easiest, the getting rid of styrofoam. And every year, I can't even drink out of a styrofoam cup anymore. It just doesn't sound normal. Yeah. So I just never had them around. I'll skip coffee before I drink out of those styrofoam cups. That's what I'd love to see in paper. But our dumpsters, those savings were substantial. And again, I mentioned that earlier. There's so many efficiencies we can do in the food world. I caught some guys in the kitchen. My chef was off the other day, and they trimmed all the chicken. And I looked in the bin, and there was all the scraps of the chicken, and that's heavy. I mean, there's about I think we can save about 85% of the weight of the dumpster, which is the load on the truck, the fuel it takes to get there, and so on, just by eliminating that. If those scraps get turned into chicken stock, and the worst part about it was made me cringe, and I almost wrote him up because he should know better. But there was the carrot trimmings were in there too. And I was like, you literally had half of chicken stock right there, and it's now in the trash. You add onions, water, and celery to that, and that's chicken stock. And that's evaporated, add water, it's literally just add water, and it's flavored. It goes out the door in somebody's stomach, instead of out the door and 20 pounds of, scraps, you know what I mean? And so there's a cost factor there, as well as doing the right thing, but saving scraps and doing, we always have to, we're quality-based too, so it is always about quality first, but the nice thing about the certification we have is it's a pretty clean template. We get to gather points in each area, and we have to maintain and we have to continuously increase that. We can't just get certified one year and say we're good. We have to continuously send in our receipts for our paper products and our energy bills and the motion sensors in the bathroom. That one-time investment of a $100 motion sensor in the bathroom, just by knowing the light shuts off. It shut off for me the other day. I was in the stall in the bathroom. I was like, oh yeah, it works. It's the store's job. I guess I had to wave my hands around outside. But there's while far and above the doing the right thing, the financial gains we're seeing now are starting to mount because the bills are dropping and continuing to drop as we get better at it. So.
I don't have to say anything. I don't have to make any arguments about why it's with it.
Right.
But no, what we do is we look at things like the faucet flow limiters and stuff like that. That's what we do all day long, every day, and that's one of the things that is a small investment that pays for itself right away. There are a number of things like that in buildings. Lighting is another good example of that. So there are a few things that we can always turn to in any energy audit that we do, and then some of the more involved things, yeah, they can be more expensive, and we help the customer figure out, okay, what is the return on investment? We have other metrics that we can use, like simple payback, how many years does it take to pay for itself, the net present value of the energy savings over time. You can regress that using a discount rate. Savings to investment ratio, which means if it's a number more than 1, it means it's going to pay for itself over its useful life. And life cycle energy savings. There's just a number of different ways to look at it. And in addition, we've also come across situations where the more efficient option is less expensive. So in the Winchester Thurston School energy audit that we did, we found that the 94% efficient new boiler system that they wanted to put in was actually less expensive by $15,000 than an 85%. So what are they going to choose?
Right.
They're going to choose both the better and the less expensive.